Hello and welcome to Sound Librarian. I'm Stefan Schutz. I'm a bit of a geek, if that hasn't been obvious. And one of the most significant points in my life was when, at the age of 10, I went along and I watched the original Star Wars movie at the cinema. And I've liked Star Wars, I've liked the franchise, I've liked a lot of the games, not all of them. But one game in particular stood out for me. In fact, what stood out for me in this was that the narrative was so outstanding for a computer game. And considering how long ago it came out, that was actually quite significant. In fact, for me, this particular game had a narrative that was second only to the original Star Wars movie and The Empire Strikes Back. I actually think the narrative in this game was better than the rest of the Star Wars films. The game I'm talking about is Knights of the Old Republic. And it has some really significant things in it from an audio point of view. Firstly, it was, I believe, the very first Star Wars game to not use the original John Williams Star Wars musical score. It had a score that was specifically written of new music. And the composer for Knights of the Old Republic did an outstanding job. It also had far more sounds than just the traditional Star Wars sounds, so there needed to be a fair bit of sound design done specifically for this game. And of course it had outstanding voice acting. We are going to have a very close look at Knights of the Old Republic. Let's go.
Knights of the Old Republic was certainly a significant game on the Xbox and during that generation. It was also available on PC. But for the Xbox, it was one of the big games. And what I mean by big is just the scope, the size, the duration. The quality of the graphics were also outstanding on that particular platform. Knights of the Old Republic also introduced quite an interesting new way of dealing with the role-playing genre of controlling a group of characters. Obviously, for this analysis, what we're talking about, of course, is the audio as well. Now, of course, Knights of the Old Republic had an advantage from the sound design point of view in that it had the wealth of the Star Wars universe of sound effects to use, and they are all cliched, iconic, very good examples of sound design, which the developers of Knights of the Old Republic could make full use of. However, this game was far greater in scope than many previous Star Wars games, and as a result, needed quite a considerable amount of original sound design, which in general really fitted in very, very well with the Star Wars universe and lived up to the same level of production values that the Star Wars titles have always had. Most significantly was the original score written for Knights of the Old Republic. The composer, Jeremy Soule, is very well known in the games industry for producing orchestral scores, and he's done many game scores in his history. But the task for Knights of the Old Republic was really quite significant. Obviously, John Williams' music is very well known, and it's also very well loved. So to have to write music that is comparable and complementary to the Star Wars universe is obviously a really big challenge. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who have very high expectations when they play a Star Wars game to have music suitable for one of those games. And Knights of the Old Republic really is an outstanding example of music written to fit an established franchise that I think has been done very well. The other thing is because of the size of the game, there is really quite a considerable amount of music that's been written for this title. From ambient sort of background tracks to combat tracks, there is a lot going on. For me, however, the most significant thing in Knights of the Republic, as I've mentioned already, is the story and the dialogue. And the dialogue is really quite well done. In this particular case here, we are going to be introduced to one of the main characters who will journey with us through the Knights of the Old Republic story. And let's just say that the initial meeting is not perhaps what you would expect of being introduced to a new party member who's going to be following you on your journeys throughout the game.
Well, maybe those bloody Vulkars will think twice next time before trying to keep a Jedi prisoner. And as for you, if you think you can collect me as a prize... Wait, I don't believe this. You're one of the soldiers with the Republic fleet, aren't you? Yes, I'm sure of it. How did you end up racing for these swoop gangs? Save me. Is that what you were trying to accomplish by riding in that swoop race? Well, as far as rescues go, this is a pretty poor example. In case you hadn't noticed, I managed to free myself from that neural restraint collar without your help. In fact, it's more accurate to say that I saved you. Brezhik and his Vulkars would have left you for dead if I hadn't stepped into that fight. You're lucky I was here to get you out of this mess.
So instead of being introduced to somebody who you believe that you have rescued, you are effectively told off for being fairly incompetent, not particularly useful, and generally Bastila pays out on you. I walked away from this. It needs to be put into context that it's taken you probably a good couple of hours of gameplay of working really quite hard to get to the point where you rescue her. After all of that, to receive that kind of a drubbing out from Bastila, my response was, "You ungrateful cow." What was interesting about that is that your initial reaction to Bastila is one of, you don't really like her, you're not really sure that you're going to put up with her. However, during the course of the game, you grow to rely on her, and your feelings towards her will more than likely change as her story and your story becomes better known. And in fact, she's one of my favourite characters in any game ever. And that's one, because of the quality of the writing, but also because of the quality of the voice acting. And this is something that Knights of the Old Republic was one of the first games for me that I really noticed the quality of the voice acting. And I'm grateful to say that the quality of voice acting has continued to improve within the industry. And these days, some of the games that are coming out just have really first-rate story and voice acting, and as a result, the games themselves are far more enjoyable. So, of course, like any Star Wars story, you are off to try and defeat the forces of evil and the dark side, and you've gone through several hours of gameplay to rescue Bastila, and then you head off to Dantooine, which, for those of you who are aware of the Star Wars universe, has been mentioned right back in the very first Star Wars film. So you've got a level of familiarity right from the word go of being taken to this place that you've heard about previously in the Star Wars universe, but we've never actually seen.
Plot a course for Dantooine. There's a Jedi enclave there where we can find refuge.
Incoming fighters!
Quickly, to the gun turrets. You have to hold the Sith fighters off until we get those hyperspace coordinates punched in.
So when you first started playing Knights of the Old Republic, you were asked to create a character, and you were asked to create a character of 3 different types, either a scout, a rogue, or a soldier. And generally you have some skills that you use with that. But the real reason for being a character in Knights of the Old Republic is ultimately where this discussion here is taking you.
And perhaps there you shall find a way to stop them.
The Force flows through you like no student we have ever seen. But you're willful and headstrong, a dangerous combination.
Before we send you to investigate the ruins, you must be trained in the ways of the Jedi, so that you can resist the darkness within yourself, within all of us. Otherwise, you are doomed to fail.
There are many aspects of the Star Wars universe that people enjoy in games, and there are many aspects of gameplay that are appropriate. But really, one of the main reasons why people play Star Wars games, and one of the main reasons why people like Star Wars games, is because of the mythology behind the actual mysterious characters of the Jedi.
Meditation will teach you to channel the power of the Force. To truly understand the way of the Jedi, you must open your mind to knowledge. Seek wisdom in the teachings of the great masters of our order.
For many people, there are probably two main things within the Star Wars universe that get them excited and really, really typify the reasons why they play a Star Wars game. And this is the first one.
I wish you a pleasant stay here on Dantooine. May the Force be with you.
One simple phrase, and yet it's the center of so much that gets created and played and viewed and enjoyed within the Star Wars universe. And the second one is just as significant and, frankly, just as iconic, and the other main reason why people enjoy the Star Wars universe. One of the most iconic science fiction futuristic weapons ever designed, with also one of the most iconic sounds. There is nothing that I can think of that comes close to the feeling of hearing a lightsaber being used in battle. There's many things, many aspects about Knights of the Old Republic that I really, really enjoyed. The ability to use the Force and use the storyline beyond just fighting things is something that I really, really enjoyed. Again, we have a dialogue story here which you get to care about the character. You are told to go and discover what is wrong. You find that there is a character who has fallen towards the dark side. And it's not simply a case of beating up this person.
Talk. You who have beaten me so easily just want to talk? I do not believe it. Kill me now while you still have the power. You do not? I am pathetic. I sit here and think myself to be great by embracing the dark side, but I am nothing. There is no way I could be turned back. I always thought they held me back, or jealous of my power. This is only because I was not good enough to meet their standards. I never have been. I thank you for your kind words, Jedi. You seem to know just what affects me. I seem to still have much to learn, both about being a Jedi and about myself. But I wish the cost of my ignorance had not been so high. I wish that my master had not suffered because of me. I only wish things could have been different. If she were alive now, there would be so much I would say to her. So much I would apologize for. I think, in my own way, I truly loved her. How can the Council ever take me back with what I have done? Striking my master down in anger is unforgivable. If I show them I am free of passion, that I am serene, that I am willing to forsake the dark side, maybe, just maybe, they would accept me back. Do you think they would? Could it be possible after what I have done? I thank you, Master Jedi. I will return to the Council then. I shall submit myself to their judgment and hope they will forgive me. If only there was some way I could make this up to you. Again, I thank you. I am sure I will hear great things about you in the future.
In fact, you not only have the opportunity to bring them back towards the light side, but ultimately this character joins your party. And you have an investment in that. You have saved, in a way, this character from going down the dark side. And so having this character then join you on your journeys is not just getting access to another Jedi, but it's also the fact that you've got some investment in this character. You know something about them. In fact, you influenced part of their backstory. And I think this is another part of Knights of the Old Republic that works very, very well. At various stages along the way, you get to interact with your characters, and how you interact with them reveals certain parts of their backstory. So you're not just presented with this backstory just wholesale. You have to go digging for it, and it gets revealed to you gradually, which makes it far more valuable from a story point of view.
Dantooine. Seems like a lifetime since I last set foot on her surface. Though in truth, it's only been a few months. We should be safe from Malak here. For now, at least.
So during the course of this game, you get introduced to quite a wide variety of characters. You get to learn about them, you get to interact with them, you get to work with them. And in a lot of ways, you get to care about them. You get to care what happens to them because you have an investment in them. There are far too many games where you're expected to care about characters, but you're not given any reason to care about them. Knights of the Old Republic has a bit of a slow drip feed into finding out about some of the characters. The slower you learn about a character, the slower you get to know more information, the more investment you tend to get and the more you care about them.
It isn't easy to witness the annihilation of an entire planet. I know Mission must be taking it pretty hard.
She will find a way to come to terms with her grief. She's stronger than she appears. We just need to give her time. Now I must go speak with the Council. I need their advice on recent developments. After I've met with them, I will meet you outside the ship.
So as far as the Star Wars universe goes, I really think that Knights of the Old Republic has done an outstanding job of not just creating a new aspect to a universe that was already pretty full of events and characters, but they've reinvented the Star Wars universe in many ways. And as I said in the introduction, I quite frankly think that the story for Knights of the Old Republic is far superior to any of the stories of the first 3 prequel films. It has characters that I care about, it has situations that I care about.
Bring her to me.
All Republic forces, pull back!
It is too late to retreat, Admiral. There is no escape for us.
And it just has a better Star Wars feeling for me than where the movies tended to end up going.
I'll never fall to the dark side.
This is but a taste of the dark side.
Knights of the Republic is still one of my favourite games, and a lot of what we've just looked at there defines why. And I guess the climactic point in the narrative, the first time I played it, I had my jaw on the ground. So it was a very, very enjoyable experience for me, and the sound, the music, and the dialogue were the icing on the cake for that. If you haven't played it, please do. Thank you for watching.